Hello, my name is Professor Peta. I studied at UF with a bachelor's in animal science and a master's in looking cute. Today's lecture is about how we use antibiotics in animals and how that affects agriculture, but also human medicine. So, as we all should know, antibiotic-resistant microorganisms is a problem that society has to face nowadays. Most people don't think about this, but veterinarians, doctors, and other agencies must collaborate on how we use antibiotics safely and effectively.
Professor Peta, what is antibiotic resistance?
Well, we won't be covering this topic in particular, but for your knowledge and understanding, antibiotic resistance occurs when the target microorganism genetically modifies itself to resist the antibiotic being used against them. This ultimately makes them stronger.
How many antibiotics are available?
There are thousands of ways antibiotics are available in the world. In a journal written by Catherine M. Shea, MD, she highlights all the ways antibiotics are used, including, and I quote, human medicine by prescription, over-the-counter preparations by veterinarians to treat disease in animals, in cleaning products and other consumer products such as pesticides, in aquaculture, which is fish farming, and in animal agriculture. The largest use of antimicrobial agents outside human medicine is food animals. End quote.
Should food animals even get antibiotics? Is it safe?
People think that humans are in direct danger due to use of antibiotics for animals. But, as written by the AVMA, many antimicrobials used in human medicine are not approved for use in animals or are quite simply too expensive to use in animals. Also, human doctors have it easier than vets when it comes to administering antibiotics. Vets that deal with food animals must go through the U.S. Drug Administration, also known as the FDA, and the Veterinary Feed Directive, the VFD, which limits the type and amount of antibiotics in the feed of food animals.
So if the types of antibiotics used are limited, what do farmers do with their sick animals?
Good question. A quarantine-like system that is highly regulated by veterinarians working for the FDA is established for those that are sick. For example, dairy cattle that have an infection or disease are treated but will get milked last and their milk is not used. So, when they finally do get better and their body has been given enough time to recover from antibiotics or withdrawal period, they are able to return milking with the rest of the healthy herd. The USDA closely monitors food animal production to make sure that animals that are sick and being treated are completely set apart from those that are healthy.
So how come people are still getting foodborne illnesses if it's so tightly regulated?
Great question, leading right into what I really wanted to talk about today. Animals, and humans included, naturally have bacteria found in their gut. As these bacteria are exposed to antibiotics, they have the potential to become resistant to certain types of antibiotics. But this can only occur when an animal is being exposed to these antibiotics. So, what happens is that these resistant bacteria remain present in the product found in markets. If the products are not cooked to the safety standard provided by the FDA and is even found on the packaging, humans put themselves at risk of getting sick.
But us humans and animals are so different. Why does it matter if their gut bacteria becomes more resistant? Shouldn't that not affect us humans?
On the contrary, I have a different digestive system than you. But some food animals, such as pigs, are monogastric like you humans. Therefore, if you somehow were to be treated with the same antibiotics as a pig, which shouldn't happen but does, then those microorganisms would be suitable for you and they would be resistant to the same antibiotics, which is why this lecture is important. We must understand when and why we are giving antibiotics to animals and, even more importantly, people.
Is all bacteria in the gut bad for humans and animals?
No. As a rabbit, I have a lot of bacteria in my gut that helps me break down my food, and without it, I would probably die. But if you were exposed to my gut bacteria, you would most likely get sick. This idea can be seen the other way around. That is why it is highly not recommended that I eat your food, because my bacteria can't break it down. And you should probably avoid eating my food. Well, mostly because it's mine, and I'll bite you if you try.
So, no matter what, there's going to be bacteria in food that comes from animals?
That is correct. Like I said before, bacteria is not always a bad thing, and all of us have some. So when animals go bye-bye and get made into food, the bacteria goes with them. But if the correct safety measures are taken by you, the consumer, you can protect yourself. Also, the CDC provides safety measures that will keep you safe and show proper handling of animal products and produce, so you reduce the chances of getting sick. So don't worry about buying only antibiotic-free meats. Worry about cooking it to the safe temperature and keeping your workspace and your hands clean, and properly storing animal products and all food in general. Also, like what my mama does, wash your vegetables and fruits before eating them.
Wouldn't antibiotic-free meat be safer though? I mean, it is free of antibiotics, isn't it?
The problem with that statement is that antibiotic-free meat has not been properly defined according to the CDC. Therefore, it is not guaranteed that the animal it came from was never given antibiotics ever in its life. It could just mean at the time of slaughter, the animal was tested and was found to lack traces of antibiotics in its system. In addition, a study found that the products that are labeled with "raised without antibiotics" or "antibiotic-free" still contain resistant bacteria, although they are slightly less resistant than regular products grown using antibiotics.
So, what I'm understanding from this all is the use of antibiotics in food animals is safe?
You would be correct. It's important to understand that antibiotics have the power to bring one back to health, but also create resistant bacteria along the way. As long as the practice of safe food handling is followed, it is safe to eat a product from an animal that has been treated with antibiotics at some point in its life. If an animal was sick, wouldn't you want it to be cared for anyways?
Phew! So we don't have to worry about antibiotic resistance at all.
Well, not so fast, buddy. I said eating meat that is handled and cooked properly will keep you safe, and most antibiotics that are used for animals are only used for animals, but not all. Both you and I can also get antibiotic-resistant bacteria on our crops that have been sprayed with fertilizer containing manure with resistant bacteria inside it. A study done by John Casey showed that people living close to crop fields sprayed with pig manure fertilizer are at a higher risk of infection from resistant bacteria such as MRSA. This is deadly, only since once these bacteria are in one person, they can spread from person to person. The CDC found that in the U.S. every year, around 2 million people get infected with bacteria resistant to one or more of the antibiotics normally used to treat that infection.
Ugh, this is just too much to handle.
I agree. Before class time runs out, though, the main thing I want you to understand, and I've repeated this several times, is it's safe to eat meat that came from an animal that was treated with antibiotics, as long as you are safe in the kitchen.
What is going on? How are we even understanding him?
I have no idea, but I mean the real question is,
Are you guys understanding him?